What is up, guys, man? Y'all asked for it. Y'all asked for the Bluebloods to go live to recap SWAC Media Days. We sorry for a little bit of delay, wanted to push it back. We didn't want to overlap with Scotty, our boy Off Script right now. He's got a live stream also breaking down SWAC Media Days. But we wanted to come on, man, break down all the drama that we ended up having at the end of the day. Never thought we'd be talking about that. Talk about some of the comments, the storylines, everything like that went on today at SWAC Media Day. So we appreciate y'all tuning in on this Tuesday night. It was an awesome day out in Birmingham, man, and it is all big time. Nah, man, no competition with All Script. Hey, we talked about like our lives were supposed to be at the same time. I pushed mine back that way he could go live first. So now we going live right now, man. So today, I want to start. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the All-SWAC Selections, which I know that got a lot of criticism. That had a lot of hot takes there. We're also going to talk about the projected media rankings in which they voted the order of finish for everybody in the SWAC. We're going to talk about Connell Maynard, his confidence, and of course, we're going to end the show talking about Dion Sanders, Jackson State. We had a little bit of a recent update on the Dion Sanders situation that I don't know if everyone knows about yet. Dion has responded on Twitter, called the rumors faked, and kind of explained a little bit about the situation at hand and why everything isn't how it seems. So we're going to get into all that tonight, man. We're here rocking with us tonight, so appreciate all y'all tuning in. But I want to get into first the 2021 preseason All-SWAC selections, man. So let me bring these up. That is the order of finish. Let's go down here. So the preseason player of the year is Aqeel Glass. Jordan Lewis won the defensive player of the year. Not surprising there, to be honest. But so this is the first team right here, guys. We got Aqeel Glass, quarterback, Alabama A&M. Ezra Gray out of Alabama State, Jared Sims out of Southern, representing the running backs. We got Mark Evans, the second out of UAPB, man. He was on the show. A huge fan of our guy Mark, man. Shout out to him. He's going to be rocking some Bluebloods merch real soon. We also have 4. That's going to be another big storyline. We have 4 offensive linemen from Southern University. You see Brandon rocking the Southern hat right now. That's his squad. We got Brian Williams, Dallas Black, Jatari Carter, and Jonathan Bishop. We also got Abdul, Alabama A&M at wide receiver, Josh Wilkes for UAPB, and we got Ethan Howard from Southern, man. That is the first. That's the first team offense right there. I can't believe one school had 7. Or no, not 7. They got what, 5? What did I say? 1? Yeah,
6.
7. Yeah, 6, whatever. Yeah, 6 first team, just offensive selections, man. And I was thinking more because I haven't got to the defense yet, but they also had some more defensive guys make it. But Southern dominates the offensive side of the ball. So comment what y'all thoughts are on this offensive pick. I was a little surprised. I think okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Brady, I think they should pick more than 2 wide receivers.
I agree. I know why they only do 2 why they only do 2 is because they have 2 running backs on here as well. But maybe do 1 running back and 3 wide receivers. That makes more sense to me.
Because Brandon, how often do we see a team run a 2 wide receiver set anymore?
What was it, like 1997, something like that?
Listen, I agree. I agree with this comment right here. Nugget was done dirty. We're going to get there in just a second, so hang on to that thought. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball, Brandon. And the first team, it starts with Jordan Lewis out of Southern. He was picked as the defensive player of the year pick. Christian Clark, Alabama State. Jalen Ivey, also out of Southern. Andrew Ogletree out of Alabama State. Then we got the 2 Jackson State boys, Keontae Hampton and Aubrey Miller Jr. out of Jackson State. Colby Watts out of UAPB. Jalen Thigpen out of UAPB. Irshad Davis out of Alabama State. Chase Foster out of Southern. And Caleb Brunson out of Mississippi Valley. And, that kind of brings me to this. So we got to agree right here. Definitely more than 2 wide receivers. I 1,000% agree with you on that one. And I want to get to this. Where is Dejon Warren?
Nowhere to be found, dude. This is ridiculous. I don't know how you make this list. Number one, and I know that we had the comment the other night on a live stream, but I don't know how he's not at SWAC Media Days today. That doesn't make sense to me. I guess he missed a meeting or something, but now he's not even like a first team all SWAC. That doesn't make sense at all. He might be the best defensive player in the SWAC, period. He's not on the first team all SWAC. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, and the bad part is we'll get to the second team. He's not even that. And I want to address this comment while it's up here too. College game day going to the SWAC MEAC Challenge week 0 is huge.
Dude, not only that, but first
absolutely huge
there too. It was just wild.
What?
First take's going to be there too.
Yep. Listen, I know, I know everybody in the world's covering Dion Sanders Save. I'm trying to take as a holistic approach and cover as much SWAC as possible, not just focus on one school. But man, the attention the SWAC is getting today. Brandon, we got the NBA Finals tonight. We had SEC Media Days headlined by Nick Saban. We had there's so much going on this Tuesday, and SWAC Media Days is at the top of everything. And I think it shows how much media interest there really is. I mean, last year for SWAC Media Days, there's no way there's this much coverage of this event. And so I'm so excited for that. I agree. College game day week 0, the SWAC MEAC Challenge is going to be huge. We got Braylon Robinson here with 6 projected offensive first teamers and the projected defensive player of the year. They should win the SWAC West, right? Of course not. Something's not adding up. We're going to get to that, but I think he's addressing Brandon Southern coming behind Alcorn State in the rankings and the projected.
And if you didn't notice this, where was any Alcorn player on the first team all SWAC? They did not have a single player on the first team all SWAC. And I'm looking over the second team, and I don't. Do they have anybody on either one of these teams?
I don't think so. I know Felix didn't make it. They put Skylar Perry over Felix Harper on that second team quarterback. Braylon, so I know you're a Southern fan. Comment below what your thoughts are on Skelton being named the starting quarterback.
That was crazy to me. I mean, it's cool because you want to go ahead and lock down your starting quarterback as soon as possible. And that's exactly what happened today. But dude, I don't know. That's not who I projected. Everybody knows that I didn't have Skelton even in my top 5 of all SWAC. I had him as the second ranked quarterback on his own team. As a matter of fact, I think as long as he develops a little bit more before the season starts this fall, everything should be fine at Southern, especially with that just brick wall of an offensive line in front of them.
Hey, with that offensive line, they might not even have to throw the ball. They could just run it down your throat.
And what's crazy, and I know they had 4 first team all SWAC players. The 5th is on the second team. So that O line is nasty. So
yes,
I guess it kind of makes sense to put a running quarterback right behind that offensive line. And he has the talent to be a great starter in the SWAC. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He just needed a little bit of time to develop, and I think this offseason gave him time to do that.
Dude, look, to be honest, I think the difference is I think they can get enough out of Skelton through the air. Man, you can't teach anybody to do what he does with his legs.
No, you absolutely can't.
I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. And we have this comment here. So Southern can't be projected to win until they beat Alcorn. That's fine. I'm okay. I get the thing. So he has the most experience talking about Skelton. Not surprised at all. Shout out to Coach Simmons, man. That is our guy. That's a day one right there, man. Shout out to Coach Simmons. And R.B. Parker said they explained that they would not change their policies for COVID-19, so only spring players were eligible for preseason voting. Okay, that makes sense for all the Alcorn players. But, yeah, Nugget. So, guys, I want y'all to comment because I know the Nugget thing was a huge thing. I mean, when I tweeted this out on my Twitter, a lot of people were coming like, what happened? What happened? And who would y'all take off from the first team secondary before we move on to replace with Nugget? Because I think Thigpen is fine. Listen, Thigpen is one of the best SWAC players in the conference. I really do like Caleb Brunson and Irshad Davis. I think Chase Foster would have to be my pick, Brandon.
Yeah, I think so. Now, here's an interesting comment, by the way. You got Braylon all wrong, dude. You can't do that.
Oh, my bad. So he goes to, so apparently Braylon goes to Alcorn. He holds the SWAC 60-meter dash record. Dude, that's flying.
Yeah.
Jesus. Listen, shout out to you, Braylon, man. That's crazy. Hey, good luck to you, man. I hope you get back on the field there. But the comment above Braylon, they only took into account players who played in the spring.
Checks out.
So that disqualified Alcorn as a whole. That's why Alcorn didn't have anybody on the list. So I'm pretty sure Felix would have made second team if he could have been voted for.
It made me feel so good about my list there for a second when they had Skylar Perry on the second team. I was like, maybe I'm not stupid. But
yeah, comment below who you would replace Nugget. Like who would you replace for Nugget in this list? Would you pick Thigpen out of UAPB, Irshad Davis out of Alabama State, Chase Foster out of Southern, or Caleb Brunson out of Mississippi Valley? Comment below what y'all think. But let's look at the second team here. And we got Skylar Perry at quarterback, UAPB. Gary Quarles out of Alabama A&M. That is huge, by the way. Caleb Johnson, Mississippi Valley State. Jonathan Williams, Alabama A&M at O-line. Another Southern offensive lineman in Jeremiah Stafford. Noah Hayes, UAPB. Tandre Smith, UAPB. UAPB's representing because they had Mark Evans on the first team too. Yeah. That's huge, by the way. And then Bethune gets in there with Nicholas Roos. And then you got Zabria Moore, Alabama A&M, Tyron Ralph, UAPB, and Terrence Ellis at tight end. That's your second team offense. Let's see right here. We got a comment. I think there was a rumor of that coach, but I'm pretty sure he ended up staying. I think they had another DB transfer, though. His name's escaping me right now. But Thigpen is still there from what I can tell, unless something just recently changed. Yeah. Let's see. That guy, Niles Gaddy, is a problem. Watch, Dion didn't bring him for nothing. We'll have to wait and see. Listen, we'll get to Dion shortly. I don't hate listen, we explained it on the live stream last Saturday. I get it, but it's just I think that Aubrey Miller deserved to go over anybody. Honestly, I get it, Nugget, and we had his dad in here, Dante, say that he missed a meeting or something. Aubrey Miller deserved to go, especially if you're bringing a linebacker, and that's just how I feel. Sean Steele, okay, yeah, that's the guy who transferred. And they should have said, I will replace Brunson. I agree with that. And let's go to defense here, second team. We got Texas Southern defensive lineman here. We got Jason Dumas, Prairie View. Jerry Gardner, Mississippi Valley State, who I was kind of surprised wasn't on first team, to be honest. This was like the only player I was like, that's one of the only players I could say, like, man, that's tough. And then we got Ronaldo Flowers, FAMU, Isaac Peppers, UAPB, Armani Holloway, Alabama A&M linebacker, Ontario Johnson, Bethune-Cookman. We also got Armani Holloway, Alabama A&M. We also got Natron Culpepper, Alabama State, Keenan Fontenot, Grambling State, and Marquise Bell, FAMU. Listen, the two names that I think you can make an argument for first team, Brandon, is Jerry Gardner and Marquise Bell. Yeah, I think both of those guys have a strong case, but I get that you only have like 4 spots on the first team, and like everyone kind of deserves it. And Thigpen was there, which is a guarantee. Nugget should have been there. I get like you have to split hairs, and Marquise Bell is new to the SWAC, but man, that kid's a baller. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm so excited to see him play this fall in the SWAC.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Zach. I mean, I think you're right about like the limited spots. You know, everybody's fighting for those spots, but I definitely think that I especially think that Marquise Bell might have deserved to be on the first team. Like if Nugget's not going to be on there, then that opens up a spot for somebody. And if we're taking off, what's his name, Chase from Southern, then I think I would replace him with Marquise Bell.
I like it. And so Lamont Rice said, like Maynard said, talking about Coach Maynard from Alabama A&M, preseason doesn't matter. It's the postseason. That's what they pay attention to. I agree completely. I really preseason's great and all, but it's really the post. Like if you're a preseason All-American, that's great. But if you're a postseason, it's got to be just a little bit more, man. Just to me, I don't know about y'all. Coach, I don't know that.
Facts.
I
was just thinking that.
But Coach, I mean, hey, think about it. It might have just been like a welcome gift to the SWAC. Like we got to at least put like a one or two players. Maybe. Like you get it one. You get like a solid one just for joining the SWAC, man. We can't like shut you out completely. I feel like that's kind of how it is. And he said, it's all about that postseason roster. But, that's the All-Americans, guys. We kind of talked about the snubs and everything like that. But this is the one I mainly wanted to go to. And this is the preseason media rankings. That is back up here. And, okay, let's start with the East. And they got Alabama A&M winning the East with 122 points. FAMU in second with 109. Jackson State in third with 80. Alabama State 76 and fourth. Bethune fifth with 71. And Mississippi Valley State last with 25.
Dude, what has me?
Man.
It's not just the Jackson State's third on here. It's that they took like a comfortable seat in third because they are 29 points behind Florida A&M, behind FAMU. And then you look at it, and they're within 10 points of Alabama State and Bethune. I mean, the only team that really isn't in the conversation whatsoever is Mississippi Valley State. But I don't think I disagree with Jackson State being a third on this list because FAMU's real. I mean, I'm not going to say like they're going to come out and win it this year. I think Alabama A&M will in the East at least. I'm not sure about overall. But I think Alabama A&M is going to win the East. I think I might agree with this list, honestly.
Ooh, I like it. We got Jackson State should be fourth from our guy Lamont Rice, and then Coach Simmons says FAMU, JSU at second, Alabama A&M in third, Valley, then Bethune. So, Coach, why are you not high on Bethune? Because that seems to be everyone's sleeper.
I was about to say, and you got Valley up there, and I don't think anybody has them like coming anywhere close.
Okay, listen, Valley is a big upset potential team. I just don't know if they can string together enough wins to jump to fourth. Like that's going to be tough. Like, and then like also that means you think Alabama State's really going to fall short of their preseason expectations,
right?
And man, do you know the impact? So like. Yeah, so I guess like everyone thinks like FAMU's going to take that Missouri track, like when they join the SEC and just make the SEC championship immediately.
That would be something. I mean, like I said, I don't think they end up winning it. I do think that they're in the conversation though, for at least for a little while. It's really going to come down to I think how they play against Alabama A&M. Who wins that game? Let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. Not settled on their defense or QB. Bethune only beats FAMU.
Whew. I mean, Coach Simmons has chaos in the SWAC East.
Man, that's crazy. FAMU. So you think FAMU's going to run the conference and get to the championship game, but lose to Bethune?
See, I think I'm agreeing a little bit more with SWAC Talk Show here. When Valley may win 2 games. It's bad, man. They have a tough schedule this season. They really do.
That team just that team has talent and spots.
Yeah.
I just think when like looking at the roster as a whole in the depth, they're on the right track maybe, and I think they have some very talented guys on that roster. I just don't know if they can compete with the top of the top in the SWAC, to be honest. And I think that's going to be the thing. Let's see. We got I will bet whatever that Alabama A&M won't win it. Listen, what you want to bet? Comment. We'll put up some merch for you, bro. We will put up some merch on this bet. I'm pretty sure, even though Brandon's rocking the Southern hat, so I don't know. But your boy will talk a bet with you, man. I will talk a bet with you. We got Alabama A&M, Alcorn for the SWAC title. A&M wins it all. Listen, and we'll get to the topic in a second. He said Cash App. I love it. If Alabama A&M wins the fall title too, that will be a huge statement for Connell Maynard and Alabama A&M. I mean, and he mentioned it in his conference today where he said we're going to have a banner that says 2021 Spring Champions, and we're going to have a banner underneath it that says 2021 Fall Champions. Talk about a flex. He's saying he's going to get 2 HBCU national titles, a Celebration Bowl win in a season.
Yeah.
Or in a year, in a calendar year. That would be tough. I'm not gonna lie. And then we got Braylon. A&M won't win it all. You have to play all 3 phases of the game, not just offense. I agree. Okay, that's the one thing. I'm not gonna lie. That's the one thing that concerns me about Alabama A&M is the defensive inconsistency. Yes, they got better. You look at someone like Spencer Perry. You look at a bunch of the corners they got. They got that 4-star linebacker. But did they get someone who's going to really replace their only pass rush in Cushing?
I don't know that they did. I mean,
listen, if Alabama A&M doesn't have a true pass rusher, I think their ceiling diminishes greatly in terms of what they can achieve in the long run this season. Because they're going to put up what do you think they're going to average? Probably 35 or more points a game, but what is their defense going to allow per game? That's the big question for me because, Brandon, are they going to be good enough against the run? Because if you can run against them, you can keep the ball out of Aquil Glass's hands, and then that offense becomes non-existent.
Yeah, I think you're right, Zach. And this is one of those situations where they might end up turning into a team. Like you said, they might score 35 points a game, but defense might on average let up like 30 points a game. That's not good. We're looking at and Zach and I are big SEC fans as well. You're looking at like an Ole Miss situation here where they can outscore you, and that's the only way they're going to beat you is if they outscore you because their defense isn't going to do them any damn favors. And so I think we're right here. This defense has to improve. They have to, and I just don't know that they did over this offseason.
It's going to be tough. And then, the defense is terrible, and you guys know it. A&M only has 10 games this season, not a very tough schedule. I do agree with that. Their schedule isn't real tough. And this is the key right here. Sonic Boom pointed out perfectly. For them to miss Alcorn and Southern, how big of because Brandon, for me, when I look at A&M's kryptonite, so there's always bad matchups. If you created a team to beat Alabama A&M, it's Southern.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they're going to run it down your throat. They're going to win the time of possession. They're going to keep the ball away from you, and they got the defensive line to get pressure on Aquil Glass, and they got the defensive line to stop your run game, and they're going to sit back and put 8 in coverage, maybe even not 9 in coverage, and what you going to do?
Right. No, you're right. And now I think that Alabama A&M may end up just walking to the SWAC championship, Zach, just because of the way their schedule's laid out. They may have a loss here or there, just depending on who they play. I mean, they still have to play everyone in the SWAC East. But, when they get to that SWAC championship, I know they don't play Alcorn or Southern, but they're going to end up seeing one of them probably. I don't know which one it is yet. They're going to end up seeing one of them in the championship game, and that's going to be tough because at that point, you lose that game. That game could be the deciding factor on whether you move on or not. I'm not talking about necessarily playoffs, maybe Celebration Bowl. I don't know. That's going to be a tough end of the season.
I like Coach Simmons. He called him Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's a fact. Oh my God.
I like that comparison, Coach. They should have moved Valley to the west. Okay, I disagree with this, and here's why, Sonic. The only reason I disagree with that is what kind of division would it be? Because would you keep Alcorn in the East? Because then you would have Alcorn, Alabama A&M, FAMU, and Jackson State, and Bethune, and Alabama State all in the same division.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Like, you got to have some parity. I still even think they should increase the parity a little bit more and move one of these guys over.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so he's saying because of the robbery with JSU. Okay, I get that. I got you there. I just think you would make the East too powerful, and then you would kind of have like an SEC West and East situation where you have like one team, maybe two. Some years if Florida's good in the East, in the SEC East, and then over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like one of the Florida schools moving. If you move FAMU to the West, if you move Bethune to the West, I think that's fine with me. I like that better than bringing Alcorn to the East. I don't love that idea. I just think it overpowers one division.
Hey, go. Yeah, there we go.
As great as A&M's offense is, I think some of the teams, it can be a detrimental because they are so explosive. It can score so quickly. I love
a million.
Great comment.
A 1,000,000%. Yes.
I like it. And I'm trying to remember who it was. There was like a FBS team one year that this is like how they didn't make the national championship because they literally, it kind of reminds me of like Oklahoma all those years. They fell short because like their defense was on the field too much because they would score in like 1-2 play drives.
Yeah.
I love this comment though. This is huge. Listen, the two biggest question marks for Alabama A&M is their defensive line and their running game. That's it. Those are the two biggest question marks for me. And if either one of them doesn't work out, I don't know if they can make it.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, yes, they're explosive, and yes, they're going to score. And you just mentioned it, Zach. The lack of a rushing game is going to kill them because that does them no favors with time of possession. You mentioned that with Southern earlier. That's all they do is run. And so they're going to be able to control this time of possession. They're going to be able to run a quarter off the clock if they have the right kind of possession. We're talking about like Army possessions here, Zach. We're seeing this the exact opposite with Alabama A&M this upcoming season. And it's just a matter of, and I'm telling you, I already said it, we're going to have to see if they can just outscore their opponents because it's going to be Alabama A&M's offense versus every other team because the defense just isn't there.
It's not. And, that's kind of where, like, let's take it to the other division here real quick because we got to talk about this one. And it's the West. And so we got Alcorn, 128, taking the title. And then Southern second with 108. Grambling at third, which I thought was odd. Prairie View at fourth. The defending West champs fifth in Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then Southern.
Okay, so
Texas Southern, my bad. I can't call them Southern, but Texas Southern.
I'm not as surprised by Grambling as you are. I'm really not. I mean, historically, you look at Grambling, and they've been one of these great programs. And I think they're building their way back up. I don't know if they're quite there yet, but this might be, this fall season might be the season they kind of turn it around, and they might actually end up finishing third. I don't know if I'd be willing to put like money on that. I don't know if I'd be willing to bet on that they finish third, but they're making their way back up, Zach. And yeah, they did do Pine Bluff dirty.
Yeah, listen, that's where I wanted to go because listen, I believe Pine Bluff was second or third in the SWAC in terms of preseason All-Americans, and they're going to finish second to last in their own division.
That's tough. That's
Prairie View and Grambling.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with Alcorn or Southern at all. But the bottom four is where it kind of gets a little iffy. No, you know what? Those middle three is kind of where it gets iffy for me because
Texas Southern at last is fine.
That's fine.
Listen, I get it. They lost a few impact transfers. That I got you. But they got a top 3 quarterback in the conference. They got one of the best offensive lines in the conference, probably right behind Southern. They have wide receivers. One made the first team All-SWAC. They have defensive players like Jalen Thigpen that's going to take that secondary to the next level. Well, listen, I mean, y'all comment, what am I missing with UAPB that makes me think they're going to fall all the way to second to last in their division?
Yeah. No, I don't know what it is. I'm going to wait for comments because I don't know. I mean, I don't see how you go from being that good in the spring season to dead last in your own division. The only thing I can think of is Alcorn's back, but even then, like, why would you drop all the way to second to last?
Listen, that's the one I'm most confident on. If I had to put money on one of these predictions being wrong, I would bet any amount of money Arkansas Pine Bluff won't finish second to last in this division.
Yeah.
It's a cute coach. I gotta ask you, like, how's it a QB question, man? Skylar Perry was putting on last year and was playing his best football. I get it. He had some turnovers. He had some turnovers in the championship game, but I think Skylar Perry's just going to keep getting better. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the conference.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right now. And see, that's why I get it. Like, they had a lot of players in the transfer portal, but do we think that those transfers correspond with them being significantly worse than Prairie View or Grambling? I'm not saying that they're going to beat Alcorn or Southern. All I'm saying is that they're better. They're better than Prairie View, and I think they're better than Grambling right now.
Yeah.
They could.
Because
they could.
It's the exact same argument that I had with Grambling. Like, yeah, they're moving back on toward what they were historically and how they've been. Arkansas Pine Bluff hasn't been the greatest team in the history of college football. So that could be it. It could be that they thought that this spring was kind of a fluke and, they only played however many games, and that's why, they did well. They didn't have to worry about, I guess longevity in the SWAC or in the FCS or anything. So that absolutely could be it.
And so that kind of brings us to like some of the storylines, I feel like, of SWAC Media Day. We back full screen with y'all, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with us, man, on this Tuesday night. We don't live stream often, but y'all asked for it, so y'all already know we got to bring it to y'all. So I want to talk about two of the bigger coaches that talked and that kind of spoke a little bit of talk their talk, I would say, in their press conference, and that's Dion Sanders and that's Connell Maynard. And so Connell Maynard was very, very, very confident in his press conference, saying that they're going to put both banners up. And then he made an interesting comment, Brandon, about how his wide receiver room was disrespected, and that he thinks they have 5 to 6, maybe even 7 wide receivers that could play anywhere in the SWAC, and that postseason awards could be dominated by their wide receiving unit. And he mentioned Zabrian Moore. He mentioned Abdul, who was there. Do you think Alabama A&M's wide receiver room is being disrespected? And man, how much do you like? Listen, I don't even play football anymore. We played in high school together, man. And Coach French was a great coach. I don't think I've wanted to run through a wall for a coach more than Connell Maynard right now.
Zach said the same exact thing about Tom Allen this past fall, so don't listen to him. But no, I don't know if yes, I think they have great wide receivers, but really more than anything, I think that I'm seeing through Connell Maynard a little bit. I know he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong there. I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is that he has to match the same kind of energy that it seems like Dion's bringing. And yes, Connell Maynard's had his own personalities, had his own things way before Coach Prime was ever in the talk about being in the SWAC. But now that he's here and now that he's making scenes left and right, I think the energy is just really different. And I think it's really more apparent out of Coach Maynard. I think – go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, this is perfect. Coach Simmons, you beat me to it. I was about to ask Brandon this. I interrupted you to ask this question. Are the wide receivers as good as everyone thinks, or is it a Quill Glass making them look like All-Americans?
That's a really good question that I just don't know the answer to. I really don't.
Okay, I got you because I do have an answer to this because this is kind of where I wanted to go. Coach, I think Abdul is that good. Abdul Ibrahim. He was first team All-American. He was voted one of the 10 best HBCU players of the country. I think he has what it takes to be big. I think a lot of the other guys are being carried by Glass. Yeah. So I think they have one great receiver and a bunch of receivers that can put themselves in position where Glass can get them the ball, if that makes sense. So they have let's say they have 8 wide receivers they put into a game. One of them is great and would be good on any other team. The rest of them need Glass to be good. So that's my answer to it. I think it's one really good one with Abdul, and then the rest of them, I think Glass is just making them look a lot better than they are.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that for sure.
We got a Glass comment too. Yeah. Listen, I mean, so Akil Glass, man, I'm not gonna lie. If this guy does not go in like the top 4 rounds, I will just turn in my football knowledge credentials and just say I was wrong, because I think he's right behind. I think he's right behind Barrier out of Eastern Washington in career FCS passing yards coming into this season.
Yeah, you're right.
And he said remember in the 90s Harper left and was a bust. I like that. Braylon said, I know I'd go to Alcorn, but for me, Maynard is too confident for someone who has never beat Alcorn as a head coach. Listen.
You're right. I really do. I'm starting to agree with y'all a lot more. I see more comments about Coach Maynard overdoing it. Yeah. I think I'm starting to agree with you because he's doing a whole lot, Zach. And just watching his interview today and just kind of hearing it all out, yeah, you won the SWAC last season. Yeah, you've been a good coach here for a little while now. Are you really this confident, or is this kind of a show? I think it's more of a show than anything, honestly.
I don't know, man. I like him. I do. I'm not going to lie to y'all. That's my guy. So I'm not going to say anything, but let's get to this. Yes, their offensive play calling. I think it's Jason May, the QB coach, Connell Maynard. All of them combined to like form like the X-Men of like play calling. I am blown away by some of the 4 wide receiver sets they run, the route running, the way they train these guys. I get it. It a lot of it is scheming. They scheme these wide receivers into perfect places, and that's what's going to make them so hard to beat. Is because yes, you can scheme a defense up to get pressure on Glass and stuff. But a lot of the times they're scheming these receivers open too. Like maybe Abdul, Zabrian, those 2 are really the only one. Like I look at them more like a KD type of wide receiver. They can go get their own space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can get their own shot if you want to. It's like make a connection to NBA. The rest of them, they got to be schemed open. You got to have a distributor, and that's where Glass comes in. Lamont said it's both. Abdul's OJ. We got Maynard is overdoing it. Glass can start at Vandy.
Okay.
I agree. And listen, I do I want to say it?
Say it. Tell him. You can't just say it. Full script, dude. You got to say
it. Coach, Glass can start at Vandy. Glass can start at South Carolina. Glass can start at Mississippi State. And Glass could start at Arkansas. And listen.
Hey, how about Auburn?
I'm not. Yes, Auburn too. Auburn too. Listen, y'all see the jerseys in the background. Auburn, and I think maybe even Florida. I'm not high on Emory Jones.
Ooh. Florida? No, yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
If Jalen Jones could get a scholarship to Florida, Akil Glass can too.
That's a fact.
So back off. I agree. Listen, he does hold the ball too long at times, and his arm strength isn't, top of the line, but he's accurate. He does avoid turnovers pretty well. Like I would say he's on the low side of turnovers. His football IQ is off the chart. And listen, I really think holding the ball too long is a, I guess, side effect of, I think, Maynard wanting him to try to push the ball down the field. When you're running these deep, complex routes, you got to hold the ball. Like, they're not that type of offense where they're throwing behind the line of scrimmage, quick stuff. They like to push the ball down the field. So I think that's kind of a side effect of it. But I agree. I think he even mentioned today at Media Days that the biggest thing he focused on was getting the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Brandon, you got caught out here. That's why he said no to FSU. He said McKenzie Milton's got that job locked down.
I didn't say Florida State.
Oh, okay. Leon said Glasgow started FSU. Listen, I'm not going to lie. McKenzie Milton would be hard to beat out. McKenzie Milton's a dog. And you saw what he did at UCF. People forget about him because of what happened. You got called out, Brandon. He said, go watch videos of Maynard. He's been like this since Winston-Salem.
Oh, no.
Remember, Alcorn only won because a wide receiver stepped out. Glasgow started a lot of places. They got film now. It's going to be harder. I agree it's going to be harder. Coach Simmons liked that one.
This is
crazy criminal. SWAC talks about national exposure, but playing D2 like Miles, Lane, Tuskegee, etc. Schools are not going to cut it. Is it tradition or exposure for the SWAC then? So are you talking about – so I guess you can kind of lump this into the conversation about the SWAC playing other top FCS teams. So I guess this kind of relates to the thing that Scotty and Allscript got into with the Celebration Bowl and the exposure and everything, which I don't want to get into the whole political things. That got real political real fast. But I do agree that national exposure will, like, they're going to have to play. I would love to see Jackson State, Southern, somebody schedule North Dakota State for a game, a home and home.
Yeah.
I would love to see, listen, I get it. There's an argument that the SWAC programs don't get enough funding, and I understand that, and that's a valid concern, and I'm not dismissing that as not a valid concern, and that's why the FCS playoffs is a stretch, because they don't have the money, and I agree with you, and you're right. I got you. But why can't you go schedule Jacksonville State? It's like an hour from Alabama A&M. How big would that game be? How about Sam Houston State, who just won the national title, or even McNeese State, or someone like that? And so I really think that you're right. National exposure. If everyone is committed to having a national exposure, they're gonna have to play bigger teams. And I love Jackson State going to play UL Monroe. I love Alcorn going to play South Alabama. I love it because if they win, it's the biggest win in school history. If they lose, it's fine, and it's a payday. And I get all that. They're gonna have to play other FCS teams to have any chance of anything in terms of national exposure. We got Glass to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that. Brandon wants Glass to the Saints, by the way, as a Saints fan. So, Brandon, this is a question that you could take to. We're going to get to y'all's comments, so y'all keep them coming. We're going to address all the comments, man. We got all night for this. Brandon, what's your initial thoughts about Southern?
I'm excited for Southern, and especially after today at SWAC Media Days, Ladarius Skelton was named the starting quarterback. That was kind of out of nowhere, but like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I think it's better that you go ahead and declare your starter now. Give the guy confidence. Let him fight for that spot, fight to keep it. And so I'm excited mainly for what they're about to do in the trenches. We talked about that at the beginning of the episode. They have 4 offensive linemen on the first team All-SWAC, 1 on the second team All-SWAC, and a tight end on first team All-SWAC, by the way, and 4 defensive linemen on the first team All-SWAC. So this team's nasty on both sides of the ball. I think the running game is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Ladarius Skelton's got the legs to do it. The offensive line is going to open up massive holes for him. It's going to be a fast-paced team. It's going to be a team that holds on to the possession for most of the games that they play. And I'm just excited to see them play overall, really. I think that they're I think that they have. I don't want to call my shot here, but I think they have a serious. I think they're a serious threat to the SWAC championship this season. And he also mentioned that Southern's going to play McNeese State in the third week, and that's true. And they do have a home.
That's going to be a good game.
Show said McNeese State's going to be in Baton Rouge a good bit this season. I think they're there. I don't know if it's 2 weekends in a row. They're playing LSU either the weekend before or weekend after.
He said a round 6 pick for Glass. I wouldn't mind that. I like how this year they are playing lower FBS teams. Glass isn't going in the first 4 rounds. You have SEC quarterbacks that don't go high. You have SEC quarterbacks that aren't that good. They don't go that high.
That's a fact.
Listen, I mean, I get it. It's a steep thing, but you can't tell me that. Like, you can't tell me Glass doesn't have the talent to be a mid-round pick. I absolutely think he has a mid-round pick talent. Alabama A&M makes one of the most FCS teams. I get it, Coach Simmons. And listen, I was there for the stream and the argument and everything like that, and I don't want, the pitchforks coming our way. You know how I feel about the SWAC and the playoffs and everything like that, and I absolutely agree. It needs to happen. They need to come up with the thing where they can play the Celebration Bowl and play in the playoffs. They need to figure it out. I agree. They don't want Sam Houston. Probably also true. Sam Houston, some dogs. NDSU, North Dakota State, have and only will play to play Mississippi Valley. They really don't want that for real. Well, hey, that is absolutely wrong for North Dakota State, and they need to come down and play some real talent if that's the case. We got Southern McNeese State. Shoot, I don't see the top FCS schools on TV, only ESPN Plus. I agree. I agree. And listen, and look, Leon, we cover like the Bluebloods here. We cover Power 5, cover Group of 5, we cover FCS, including all the other conferences. We cover SWAC, like we cover it all. And the coverage for FCS football is way down, and it should be higher because there's so much potential. But it's just. And that's why I've been vocal on this podcast at times that FCS should move to spring if possible, because it increases the exposure for these kids. It increases the exposure for the school, and it needs to be worked out with the NFL draft on how that could work. And we'll have a full episode on that. But I do agree the coverage is lacking in terms of FCS schools.
And not to mention that if we move to the spring, that's also crawfish season. We can get some Southern games. We can get some crawfish cooking. It'll be a great time. I've been on the move football to the spring train for a while now, just because I want crawfish boils during football season.
Crazy Criminal said, yes, totally agree, Blue Bloods. To be the best, you have to beat the best. It'll bring more exposure to the conference, a guaranteed 6-figure paycheck for the athletic budget. I agree. Listen, and I think you're seeing the movement in the FBS more, where they're trying to push like the bigger non-conference games. I think the FCS needs to push for that. But right now, with the way the playoffs set up, there's really not an incentive to do that. So the FCS has a lot of problems they got to work out to figure that out. But I agree. I would like to see. So y'all can comment below what y'all think. I would like to see FCS do what the Power 5 does in college basketball, and have conference challenges for the season where week 1 it's the SWAC versus the OVC or something like that. And it's not just, Alcorn playing week 0 against a MEAC team. I got you. I want to see it where it's 1 through 12 and they play their team. Or y'all have like 5 teams that play. Like, I want to see something like that, because I definitely agree exposure and the paycheck's important. We got Glass to Atlanta. That'd be Brandon's nightmare. Southern and McNeese are in the second game of the home and home. I would love to see Southern play Tulane.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
I do. I really want to see that.
I really like that. Southern offensive line is good at holding. Bro, listen, Levon, I need to see someone's bio tomorrow on Twitter that says #holding All-American. Like, that's great. Glass, worst case, should be in some NFL team camp in 2022. I agree. BCU is a great example. They play UTEP, UCF, and then a MEAC school. I do like that. And I think more teams need to do that. I think you're seeing that with Jackson State playing UL Monroe. Alcorn playing in South Alabama. So Crazy Criminal, the trend is there. I just think you got to be patient with it. It's coming, though. I promise it's probably going to come, because with all the exposure, with all the money coming in, I think the SWAC is going to have to adapt real fast. The FCS is going to have to adapt real fast, because Brandon, once Jackson State, because I get the Celebration Bowl tie-in, they can't go to the playoffs. Once Jackson State or some other school gets to the point where they're winning out and going undefeated and smacking everyone, you don't think there's going to be national pundits saying Jackson State needs to go to the playoffs and try to play somebody?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to say everything, though. Like I know you watch Skip Bayless every single morning. You know what he says.
Bro, they're still talking about LeBron. He's found a way to make a LeBron MJ comparison on Space Jam about how many shots they made.
Oh my God! See, I can't even watch Undisputed. I can't do it.
He said, "Don't kill the messenger." Hey, wait, we ain't killing nobody here, man. We appreciate the support. We appreciate it. It's easy to figure out. Move the Celebration Bowl to a championship bowl like the other conferences. I love this. Love it. Guys, this is here. Frame this. Put this in the Facebook group. But don't actually, because that Facebook group's crazy, man. Y'all got some psychos in there. Don't put us in the Facebook group. We don't want none of that smoke. They were coming for everybody. But yes, just move the so we could pay all this money to go to Atlanta and play for a Celebration Bowl. Well, we can't fork up any money to play for a national title. And listen, we've had players on the podcast. We've had players from Brandon? The Citadel, Jacksonville State, Alcorn, Alabama A&M. And we had Mark Evans from UAPB. They all want to play for a national title. Everybody wants a national title. Listen, I get it. And, I know someone's going to come up in the comments or find this clip and say our SWAC hours are low. We're not educated on SWAC history. I get it. I've never been one to say that I know everything about the SWAC, but I hope you guys can tell me and Brandon work so hard to try to educate ourselves. We're trying to catch up. We're trying to learn. There's no reason, if you care about the players that at your program, that you shouldn't give them a chance to play for a national championship.
I agree.
What kid doesn't want to play for anything? Like, I get it. The Celebration Bowl is great, and you should still have it, but that shouldn't take away from the FCS playoffs. And, man, shout out to you, man. We say, hey, only we'll talk our crap real quick. Only YouTube channel that covers every single level of football on YouTube. FCS is back in the limelight this year. I agree. It's quality football. The Power Fives have all the TV contracts. That's where the FCS has to step up. I think the conferences have to come together and fight as a collective. It can't be like the Power Five where the SEC can fight its own battle over here. The Big Ten can fight its own battle over here. For the FCS to have the success, Brandon, I don't know how you feel. They're going to have to fight together for TV contracts.
I think so, especially with how dominant the FBS has become. And to me, I mean, Zach, you and I haven't been huge FCS fans forever. This has been like a more recent development, at least. And in my honest opinion, FCS football has so much more parity. It's so much more fun to watch because of that. And I'm not going to say that in every single case. I mean, look up here. I'm the biggest LSU fan you'll find. But I'm coming around to FCS football. I love the playoff structure. I love everything about it. And I'm like you said, our SWAC hours are low. We're diving into it more. We're learning more. We're trying to educate ourselves. And I think, dude, if it was on TV, more people would love the FCS. I guarantee it. If they had the same exposure the FBS did, we might see. We might see. I'm not going to say more FCS fans, but definitely more than we have right now, and a better ratio than we have right now to FBS fans. Yeah.
I agree, and that's why we're trying to promote these players too. That way, they can have some, stability and people can get invested. FCS goes up when it's lots of monster teams, like when Youngstown was dominating. Yeah, back with Jim Tressel and Montana. What round do y'all see Jordan Lewis from Southern getting drafted?
Where do I see him getting drafted, or where do I think?
Okay. I think he has the potential to be a mid-round pick as well, but he's a bit on the smaller side, and so I think he's going to project he's going to project more as an edge, maybe like outside linebacker, depending on his athleticism. So I think they're going to dock him. But I do think Jordan Lewis can dominate the combine, which is really going to help him. So I think, honestly, he'll probably fall somewhere in like the 5th to the 7th round. But I think he has the potential to go a little bit higher if he just blows the team away and they think they can get a sleeper.
Dude, and look it up right now. If you look up Jordan Lewis on Google, I think I've read a couple of articles. I think you'll find articles about him being a steal of the draft. So yeah, he might end up getting drafted like 6th, 7th round, like last day of the draft. But some team is going to have him on their roster, and I don't think he gets cut. I think he ends up playing in the NFL. I think he ends up getting a good amount of reps in the NFL too.
What hell are you talking about, Coach Simmons? Comment below. What hell are you talking about? I'll get to your comment.
I think he was talking about something about Akil, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. The top FCS teams play other conferences the first 2 to 3 weeks. Hey, the SWAC has to catch up here. I think Dion is bringing the attention. Now the SWAC teams are going to have to take the attention and kind of move with it. Southern can't pass. I agree. That quarterback has a problem. Let's see. Yes, SWAC versus OVC, Sunbelt, Valley, AAC. I love it. The conference challenge sounds interesting. I think he'll do wonders. Listen, how many people love it in college basketball? Why couldn't it work with football?
That's why, I mean, right now they're trying to expand the FBS playoff to 12 teams, and they're trying to do it in like the most difficult way possible. So I don't know. The FCS has such a cleaner model and like just a tried and true model, and now what are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah. SWAC conference game doesn't help team strength of schedule. Listen, I think that's changing though. Because when I look at the SWAC, Alcorn, Southern, Jackson State, Alabama A&M, FAMU, they're all going to be very respectable teams that I think can make an impact. So I think the SWAC strength of the conference is increasing. So I think that will be a moot point as we get there. But listen, I get what you mean. Because in terms of some of the other conferences out there, like the ASUN's going to be crazy this year.
Yeah.
With Jacksonville State moving in there and that building that new conference, I'm excited for that. Lamont Rice to laughing. Go back up here. That's how BCU got their program back on track. Money games, because JSU has the top recruiting class doesn't mean they'll beat the top FCS teams. I agree. Like I said, it's all paper right now. It's all on paper right now. Money games hurt your chance of finishing off the season. Too many players coming out banged up. I get that. And I think you see that a lot because it's just different, man. The money games, I think, are needed. But at the same time, I get it. I get your point because the FBS teams come in there and they're just trying to take everyone's head off. And, like, you hurt your chances in the conference. So I got you there. FCS playoffs doesn't cost a thing. Man, that's been a debate, man. So I comment below if you have any links or things because there's been a lot of debate how much it costs to post a playoff game and go to the playoffs. So if you're still in here, man, post kind of like some of the information you know because there's been a lot of debate about that across the YouTube channels. I respect Bethune and Grambling for what they're doing. Totally with you when it comes to patience. TSU plays Baylor and Rice in weeks 2 and 3. The Rice game is going to be really good. I'm excited for that one. 24 teams go to the FCS playoffs. If a team from the SWAC wins the national title and don't win their conference, it'll be a year of crap. Well, I mean, so Coach, I got to ask you, I get what you mean, but at the same time, like we've seen it happen in FBS and everything works out all right. I mean, Alabama didn't even win their division and won a national title.
That's true. And that just
coming from an Auburn and LSU fan, I mean, it happens. But, I mean, wouldn't you rather see 4 or 5 SWAC teams representing the FCS playoffs or even like 3? Is to see what you got?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. Let's see. SWAC and Ivy League, the only 2 conferences to playoffs that doesn't play in the playoffs. Every division goes to the playoffs. Got money. Because of COVID, everyone has Amazon Prime TV. That's true. Hey, Coach, I got me that YouTube TV with my Amazon Fire Stick. I'm telling you. To be honest, in the past, I only watched FCS during the playoffs. but the spring season was good. Listen, I watched so much spring FCS football, and I got so invested. Like, we used to be just an FBS, like, Power 5 podcast. That spring season helped us expand so much, man. I mean, it was beautiful, and I'm hoping it keeps moving toward that way and that these FCS athletes get their shine. Top recent FCS game was Jacksonville State versus North Carolina A&T, when Jacksonville State beat Ole Miss and NCAT beat East Carolina. That was a big year. That definitely was a big year. I don't think it's worth going to playoffs when you can only get the respect from the FCS to go on the road because you're a lower seed as a 1 or 2 loss team, where there's no profit game. There's no profit game just for the teams. I get you. Like I told you, I get the concerns, and I get the concern, but for me, I feel like for the players they'll be so, and that's why I said on Scotty's podcast, there's a cap for how high Dion Sanders' recruiting class can go, in my opinion, because of that. Because how do you recruit those same Power 5 players once you get to the 4 and 5 stars when you can't guarantee them a shot at the national championship?
Yeah, no, I don't.
That's where I'm looking at. I'm looking big picture. NIL being in the playoffs. Jordan Lewis will be a free agent at best. DNs from North Dakota State, Jacksonville State, Richmond, McNeese State. Listen, I don't want to say too much. We had a DN from McNeese State that is going to be drafted. He almost won the Buck Buchanan Award. Isaiah Chambers, he was a monster. We had blanking on our guy's name, Jalen Swain from Jacksonville State. He is going to be a monster. He was on the freshman All-American. No matter what the FBS does for playoffs, they'll just make sure Notre Dame's in it. I agree, Leon. We need to get to the bottom of that. Coach Simmons, they have to win out-of-conference games first. I agree. ASUN's doing a challenge with the WAC. I'm telling you, those challenges are going to be huge. Strength of schedule won't improve till we play more non-conference games. I'm telling you, man, you got to play those non-conference games. Play money games all the time, and we're just fine at the end of the season. Brandon, do you think Coach Rollins will get the interim tag taken off? Our passing game is going to be better this fall, my man.
So I thought he was going to get it taken off before we got to Birmingham today. So I still think he does. Southern's letting him make a lot of coaching decisions, and they're letting him make all kind of hires, or at least have like a lot of say in the hires. So yeah, I think he ends up getting the interim tag off. I think Southern would have done a better job by taking it off before now, but I think we're going to see it before the season starts.
Oh, I like it. Let's see. FCS playoff travel expenses and pay Force 2018 article in the NCAA website. Bet I'll post that in this video. End of the year classic games knocked SWAC from the playoff and terrible seeding ages ago. I agree. Sonic said technically not a Bluebloods podcast anymore. Listen, you can't be calling us out like that.
There's more Bluebloods than just FBS football, by the way. I mean,
North Dakota State.
If we're talking about like Bluebloods in the FCS or in HBCUs, like I think FAMU is a Bluebloods. I mean, there's Bluebloods everywhere.
Oh man, nothing in life is free. Let's see, we got Jordan in here. Glass would definitely not start over Mackenzie Milton. Playoffs. Just compare when the SWAC, compare the SWAC to the teams that go to the playoff. Huge difference. I agree. Leon, FCS. Listen, Florida State is going to struggle. I'm just going to let you know. FAMU wins the SWAC. I like that.
Maybe. I don't know.
They care about more going to the NFL. Let's see. Bluebloods, what are your opinions on the Southland Conference in football after losing members and not receiving? Man, listen. So what I think is going to happen is the good teams from the Southland are going to be pulled into other conferences because if I'm not mistaken, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's some teams in the Southland that are going to be pulled into the ASUN. If I'm not mistaken, because the ASUN is the one that Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, and all of them started. And now they're kind of pulling them, they're starting with 8 teams this year and then pulling in more teams next year. And I'm pretty sure they got some people at the Southland. And Criminal, I'm not going to lie to you. If the conference isn't making money, the conference isn't helping you promote, you need to go find a better conference. I think from what I've seen, the biggest things is that conference realignment is okay now. It's way more accepted. It's done better now. I think you're going to see the Southland probably dissolve over these next few seasons, and these programs find newer conferences. If I'm being honest with you, Brandon, you got any take?
None whatsoever.
If Coach Prom can prove a path to the NFL, that's enough to get the top recruits. Okay, I agree to a point, but I don't think he's ever going to be able to land a 5-star out of high school if you don't have a chance to win a national title.
Yeah, that's true.
Because not only can other schools pave that path to the NFL, they also can offer a chance at a national title.
Yeah.
I think that's the fundamental difference. But I get what you mean. I think he'll get some good recruits, but he needs a chance for national title. See, who said Dion and JSU going to stay in the SWAC if they keep winning? Are they complaining because JSU never won a playoffs game? Ooh. Coach, man, listen, I need my boy Scotty's little rapid fire, gosh, Coach Simmons. Jesus. FAMU and Southern will play twice this season. Ooh. Ooh. He said, can we blur that hat out? Oh, man. That's funny. Southland and MEAC committees suck. They had top 10 teams. I agree. They had top teams and wasted it. Absolutely. And I think you're kind of seeing the cream of the crop conferences rise to the top in the FCS. And I think it's going to come down to where you only have a few actual, I don't want to say Power 5 because that's already taken, but you're going to have the power conferences in the FBS and the FCS. Yeah. And so you're seeing some of these conferences where you put the wrong people in charge and they kind of dissolved out. My man looking like a Southern golf coach in that shirt hat.
I'm very employed.
Roasted.
Know anybody.
Getting roasted. Prom's goals need to be bigger than the Celebration Bowl. This right here. It's got to be bigger than that. It's got to extend upon winning the first bowl game of the year. It's got to be more. I absolutely agree. Are y'all hearing anything about the MEAC added teams? I haven't heard anything, but with the season approaching so close, so fast, I think July 20th is way too late to add anybody. But I think toward the end of the season, we're going to hear something. We're going to hear something about if the MEAC's going to add anybody. I just think what happened is that the FCS was so tumultuous with the ASUN starting, the Southland losing a bunch of people, the SoCon losing some people. I think what you saw is that the MEAC was just kind of let everything settle down. We'll fill it next year. We have enough teams right now. And, North Carolina
We're gonna see realignment. There's no doubt about it. They're going to rebuild. It's just we haven't heard anything, no inside knowledge on this or anything.
JSU can become the IMG of college football. That's funny. I like that. These top FCS programs already have a path to a pros. Exactly. And listen, NIL is going to help a lot, but man, listen. Okay, so I know me and Brandon. Brandon went to Southern Miss and then the University of Mobile. I went to Auburn. Listen, the resources that some of these schools have, especially when you get to the top of the Power 5, man, right now they're just unmatched. Guys, I don't know. So we recorded our SEC, our SEC media days earlier today. Bryce Young's already made over $1 million in endorsement money. He hasn't even taken a snap yet. It's just going to be tough. Man. Let's see. McNeese, Northwestern State, Nichols, Southeast Louisiana. Yep, Incarnate were the ones I left, I believe. Yeah, I know McNeese did for sure. I know Nichols did. It's going to be crazy. Listen, we have somebody from Nichols State coming on very soon, Crazy Criminals, so stay tuned for that. Going to the NFL will sell me more anyways. I mean, the problem is is those Power Fives can also say, yeah, we also have a passion in the NFL and that. It's not that the Power Fives have a track to the national title, but don't send anyone to the NFL. There's a reason the SEC had what, Brandon, in the past 5 years, like 300 players drafted?
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. Coach, they're a long way away. I mean, listen, for JSU to do what FAMU did and try to move up to FBS, Dion's going to have to probably be at JSU and show he can recruit the level he did this year for like 5 to 8 years minimum. He's going to have to be there, I'm talking about huge. He's going to have to stick at Jackson State and not leave. And that's going to be a big if. Tennessee State should join the MEAC. I agree. The OVC took a huge hit losing Jacksonville State.
Yeah, they did.
Huge hit. And at the SWAC doesn't have the money to compete. Bryce Young has $1 million in deals. Shout out to Henry.
Yeah.
Me and Brandon are also from Mobile, Alabama. Williamson, man, Alabama A&M. Shout out to Henry, man. Let's see. Why are the SEAC schools so broke? The MEAC bad. Former MEAC schools aren't broke. Used to always go to the playoffs. Bringing up good questions, my guy. Bringing up good questions. I'm not going to lie to you. So Masterpiece, I made $2 million. He go to Tennessee State. Okay, but let me ask you something. This is a real question. If he wasn't Masterpiece son, would he have got to sign a $2 million deal?
God, this dude.
I'm not clowning you or anything. Like, that's a real question. Name another player who doesn't have the connection of being Masterpiece son that could sign a $2 million deal as a freshman basketball player.
That's true.
We can't just take that as an example. Which one is a better impact, a SWAC win over Vandy or FBS team or a playoff appearances?
I'll go ahead and take it. I think playoff appearance for sure. I don't care about a win over Vandy. What does that do? That does nothing. So, I mean, yeah, it gives you exposure, but it's still Vandy. Vandy can't fill their own stadium. People aren't watching Vandy football games. I definitely think a playoff appearance or definitely appearances are the things that would have a better impact, like no doubt.
I like it. It's way harder to move to FBS than D2 to FCS. JSU's athletic department had plans to improve drastically. We just need to make a prime hire in men's basketball. I agree. I mean, listen, the practice field, the new uniforms, the new facilities, it's all going to go a long, long, long way for Jackson State. But, man, Sonic, until you win the SWAC, until you win a Celebration Bowl, man, the shine's eventually going to wear off if Dion never, wins on the field.
Right.
This is all contingent on – I'm not saying it has to be this year or next. In the next 3 years, he's going to have to win the SWAC or the shine's going to come right off.
Agreed.
I mean, Henry said Masterpiece already had that money, man.
Facts.
No, and listen, I get it. It doesn't matter. A $2 million deal is huge. But until I see more people who don't have the connection of Masterpiece signing $2 million deals, I don't. I mean, listen, I know I saw some FCS players sign a deal with Boost Mobile. I don't know how much it was for, but I mean, that's big. And listen, just to get deals under your belt is big. Like, man, do you know how hard it is to sign a $2 million deal as your first ever deal?
I mean, that's insane.
Let's just look at the gross. If Akil Glass can get a sponsorship and make $1 million by the time he graduates, that's A+ for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
$2 million is probably the highest you're ever going to see, especially right off the bat like that. I don't think that's what we can be basing it off of. Imagine JSU winning the SWAC and Prom saying he'd rather play in the playoffs. It would get ugly. Listen, Lawrence, it's coming. Listen, because I don't know Dion personally, but I think Dion would rather win an FCS National Championship than a Celebration Bowl.
Oh, no doubt.
I do. And listen, I know all the Facebook groups and everything going to go crazy. Please don't clip us, man. I don't want all that. But I really.
By the way, we're not saying like that's what we think is better. That's not what we're saying we'd rather have. We're saying that's what I think Dion would rather have.
Because Dion wants to grow the SWAC, grow Jackson State as big as possible. There's a hard ceiling if you limit it at the Celebration Bowl. Hard ceiling. So I think Dion would rather play in the playoffs, and he just hasn't said it yet because he hasn't found himself in that position. To be honest, I mean, and Jay, I agree. Tennessee State.
Oh, I'm alone. Let's see. Tennessee State has no leadership in the athletic department. I can't really speak on that. I don't know too much about it. I'm sure Zach will be back here in just a second, though. There we are.
The boy's back.
I got so nervous. I was like, oh, I'm here alone.
computer issues, man. Hey, even the MacBooks don't do anything. But yeah, Tennessee State needs to do some stuff. I like Leon here. That goes back to our question a little bit further. Howard beat UNLV, and Howard is you need the consistency and the shine of the FCS National Championship rather than just a one hit. Because the win over the FBS program is nice, but it's really the paycheck that like influences the program from it.
Agreed.
I agree. James Madison is a perfect example. James Madison is a perfect example. Michael Head, looking forward to seeing Tennessee State join the MEAC by 2023, resurrect the conference, bring back all the teams that left over the 5 years, except for FAMU and BCU. Michael, I don't think North Carolina A&T is coming back.
I don't think so. Sorry.
I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, I hate that.
I'm sorry, bro. But the SWAC needs to be a part of the playoffs. It'll happen before year 3. Master's P-Sun isn't even that good. Okay, Bryce, I didn't say that, but I'll take your word for it, man. The kids nowadays selling themselves before they even go to college. I agree. I mean, I messaged a high school kid the other day, and he asked me how much I was going to pay him to come on the podcast. And I was like, what?
No, we're not paying.
What are we doing?
We didn't pay a Kill Glass. We're not paying anybody.
Yeah, exactly. A Kill Glass did it out of the kindness of his heart, my God. Like, Coach, I don't think Glass has a deal yet, but I'm sure it's coming. And talking to Akil, like I feel like he's so much more focused on his craft, man. I really do. I think he's completely focused on what he's doing to bring a championship back to Alabama A&M. And we had Spencer Perry on, we had Jonathan Timmons from Alabama A&M, and they kind of mentioned that they mentioned that it wasn't really in the forefront of that program. So I don't think he has it. I don't think he has it yet. Tennessee State will not go to any conference that doesn't participate in the playoffs. Yeah. MEAC and Southland conferences aren't getting any teams, especially with the ASUN. Maybe they got their committees. Yep. It's coming. JSU will go to FCS. I think you mean FBS, but yeah, maybe. It's going to take some time. Prom is going to win the Celebration Bowl and say, okay, listen, frame it. Crop us out and frame it.
Yeah, don't do that.
This is it. He's going to say, okay, great. We've won the Celebration Bowl. What's next?
Yeah.
Because you can only win the Celebration Bowl so many times.
Agreed.
I mean, he's going to want to expand the SWAC, guys. That's the thing. Like, his vision is bigger than just a Celebration Bowl. And I think that's how it is. I agree with you. I agree. Prop thinks big. I just wonder about the people in charge. The people in charge are going to be the biggest demise for the SWAC, man. I mean, listen, if they think like some of the people that I've heard give opinions on this, it's never going to grow. They act like the Celebration Bowl is bigger than the FBS National Championship. Like, what? And I hear this argument about the numbers of the Celebration Bowl on TV. How many people are thinking about how big it would be? So I think the Celebration Bowl did like 2 or 3 million viewers, Brandon. How big would it be if Jacksonville State was playing Jackson State in the FCS National Championship?
It'd be huge.
All those people who tuned into the Celebration Bowl will be tuning into the National Championship. Like, that's a horrible argument. I'm not really concerned about teams going back to the MEAC. I'm fine with teams like North Carolina A&T doing what they're doing. App State beat number 5 Michigan, and it paid dividends. Depends on the opportunity time. Listen, beating so the question that we just kind of dismissed was that what would happen if they beat Vandy? Well, Vandy's not number 5 Michigan. If Jackson State beats number 5 Alabama, huge. Bigger than a playoff win.
Agreed.
Bigger than a playoff win. Huge. If A&T wins this year, the SWAC will join the playoffs next year. I agree, and A&T is going to make a run at it with Jermaine Martin. That's my said. I think he meant playoffs. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
A&T's already gone already. No more Celebration Bowl. Celebration Bowl has a 6-year contract that's going to stop JSU. That's tough. That's real tough. Could you guys ever see the SWAC, MEAC, and Tennessee State ever go FBS, especially over the next 15 years given? If so, why? If not, what keeps it from happening? Okay. I can't see the full conference going because, man, do you know the type of the organization, the development, everything like that, that would take to drag 12 teams through like the toughest process in college football?
Right.
We're talking about Jackson State struggling to do it. And you're telling me that like now all of a sudden the whole conference, I think we could see 1 or 2 teams from the SWAC do it, but not the whole conference.
Right.
And so we got Ashley Robinson thinks big. I've been trying to get people in the SWAC to think bigger. Shout out to you, Sonic Boom. Morgan State, Delaware State, Norfolk State, Hampton football teams suck, and attendance probably 3,000 on a good day, and they aren't broke and screaming for money. Yikes. Lawrence. Stop it. We're not doing this, and Auburn's not a top 5 team. Auburn's going to suck this year. So let's pump the brakes. And Auburn probably be too scared to schedule JSU. Let's just be honest. Because we are not going to be very good. I think we play Alabama State week 2, and I'm kind of nervous for that game. As much as Maynard, Glass should have a deal. I agree with you, Be Fresh. I agree completely. Attendance is a big factor. People keep saying FCS playoffs are no big deal or make no sense, but none of us have made a run in the modern era. JSU in the title game would be like not as – yeah, I agree. Like the idea that Alcorn, JSU, Southern, FAMU making the title game would never do anything. That's insane, man. Like, what makes you think that? Brandon, so what would you have to say? I mean, like, do you think that, like, why do you think that people just think it's no big deal?
I don't know, because I think it's a big deal. I think making it to the playoffs is a huge deal, especially in the SWAC when you don't have a tie-in. I think that if you're one of those 24 teams in the country, I mean, that's essentially the same as in FBS football. And I keep comparing to FBS football because that's all that I really know, well. But the main thing here is that if you're top 25 for the most part, you're making it into these playoffs as long as you have a tie-in, as long as there's a couple hoops you have to jump through. But it's not like the FBS's stupid 12-team playoff, whatever. They're trying to make everybody jump through every hoop possible to get into. I think it's a huge deal. I mean, FCS is so much bigger than FBS, like teams-wise, like numbers-wise, and everything else. Why wouldn't it be a big deal? I don't know why people dismiss it.
So, Michael, which teams go out of the SWAC? It would have to be, I think, the top 3 that would have a realistic shot. It's probably Alcorn, Southern, and JSU right now. Those would be like my top 3 choices. If everything, like if I had to project 10 years down the line. Maybe Alabama A&M, but like their success is pretty recent. If they keep going like they are under Connell Maynard, then maybe. But I think those are your top 3 choices. He said JSU will never get close to beating Auburn. I appreciate the confidence, my guy. Coach Simmons says I'll try to get them to think big and outside the box as well. We shout out to you, Coach Simmons. Dion's not winning the SWAC this year. He's a novice as a head coach. Fair argument. Is the SWAC winner obligated to go to the SWAC championship game? Is the division winner even obligated? I think they are, Sonic Boom. I honestly think that they're contract. Like if you play in a conference, like if you win the division, you have to go.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that was I don't know. That may be
the FCS Playoff Classic. I liked it. Hey, it would become another class. Like, listen, what if like Alcorn went on like an NDSU run for like 7 years? It would become an FCS Playoff Classic. It'd be a classic every year.
That'd be absolutely nuts.
And he meant Celebration Bowl. Yes, right now I think someone commented above. It's like a 6-year contract.
Yeah,
with the Celebration Bowl. The SWAC is a little scared. Ooh, man, that's tough.
Scared of what though? Like, what exactly are we talking about here?
Yeah, expand on that. But guys, B-Dub's got to run, man. He has another commitment, so I'm gonna keep hanging with y'all for just a little bit longer. But B-Dub is signing out for the night, man.
Later, guys. I'll be on the next one, and you can catch us literally every single weekday on the 2-minute drill. We talk about FCS football all the time. So I'll catch you guys later.
So, guys, yeah, background's gone away. But we got Glass & Company doing their homework. A quality deal is in the works. I'm interested to see what happens. I agree with you. I agree with you guys here. And I think Dion wants to think bigger than the SWAC, bigger than the Celebration Bowl. I think he wants to think way, way ahead in terms and grow the SWAC into an FCS powerhouse, not just an HBCU powerhouse. He wants them to be an FCS powerhouse conference. FCS playoffs is a huge deal. Playoff teams get top recruits, top sponsors, top money. I agree. That's why North Dakota State's been dominating the NFL draft out of the FCS. Jacksonville State has some of the best. Coach Simmons, I agree with you. NDSU, I think, isn't going to be very good this year. I really don't. They're very young. We had a player on here from NDSU. Like he even admitted they're a little bit young. So I'm interested to see what North Dakota State does this year. And then we got Lawrence 11-0, North Carolina A&T, Grambling. I wonder how. Listen, I really think that Grambling team could have made a big impact. I'm not gonna lie. I think they would have made a real strong run. I think North Carolina A&T that year would have been a real strong run. And there's a lot of people thinking North Carolina A&T is going to make a strong run this year as well. So I'm very interested to see how they do, because I think there was a comment above where if North Carolina A&T makes that run this year, it's going to almost force the SWAC to get into the playoffs. A lot of people don't watch FCS, but even the casual fans understand what a national championship is. Got you, Sonic Boom. Listen, Sonic Boom, I'm going to crop some of your comments out and post them on like social media and be like, this is the mindset we need. Going to FCS playoffs, scared of that. I agree. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to grow you want to grow the SWAC, grow the FBS. If the SWAC is good enough where the whole conference is doing what Prom is doing, a team not going to the Celebration Bowl can go to the playoffs. I got you, bro. I do. Like I'm on. We are on the same level here. I absolutely agree, because what's going to happen? So like this year, I think Alcorn, I think Jackson State, I think Alabama A&M, and FAMU, Southern. There's like 4 or 5 teams that I think if they got into the playoffs could win at least a first-round game. And even if you go and lose, you at least get your brand out there, and the recruits are like, okay, we got a chance here, and this is a place we can go to win a national title. The last regular season games of the SWAC are the first weekends during Thanksgiving week. Well, listen, you got to figure out the schedule. You got to figure that out. Like every other conference figures it out. Why can't the SWAC adjust their schedule to allow teams to go play the FCS playoffs? You know, like why would you put your teams and conference in a place where they can't succeed at the highest level? That's what I'm confused about. Let's see. That's what the SWAC is afraid of. The FCS playoffs due to change. So let's play devil advocate. FAMU will win the SWAC East. JSU and Alabama A&M are both in the top 20. They are going into the playoffs. That's fine. I'd be fine with that. How many of y'all would love to see, and how many of y'all would tune in to watch FAMU, Jackson State, and Alabama A&M all in the playoffs this year? Comment below. How many of y'all will be tuned in to see that? I would. I would love to see it. And I know some of the comments on our guy all scripts stream is that it would be bad for the SWAC if that happened. How? More money, more exposure, more recruits, and you give your players a chance to play for something. Why? And the national championship's in Frisco, Texas. It's in the South. It's not like you got to travel to Seattle, Washington. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the FCS playoffs are organized like in the regions by the region. So if you make the playoffs, you aren't going to have to travel across the country. It just, listen, there's a whole lot of excuses and not a whole lot of action, and that's what I don't understand about Bayou Classic and the Turkey Day Classic. I like it, Henry. I like it. Allscript said you have to set that schedule up 2-3 years in advance. You do. I'll agree with you on that one, man. You got to get that schedule like worked out ahead of time. Glass will be a 7th rounder free agent. People have seen the QBs at Eastern Washington, Sam Houston, Jacksonville State, and that 6'7" QB. Dogs. I believe Jacksonville State had 2 quarterbacks make the All-American list. Both of their quarterbacks, because they run like a 2-quarterback system at Jacksonville State, both quarterbacks made the All-American list. That's dangerous. Money talks, BS walks. JSU has no money for the playoffs. Fair enough, man. North Dakota State will murder Alabama A&M. I agree. The more attention prom gets, the more teams like Southern and Grambling will get good players. Listen, I agree with you on this too, because what's going to happen is these players are going to say, man, I not only would I love to play for them, I want to go play against them. Talent breeds talent, man. And so if one team's doing good for the conference, it helps all the other conferences. Even in the SEC and the Power 5, you have schools like Alabama doing and Georgia doing well. It's bringing up some of the lower talent. Kentucky's getting higher rated recruits than they probably ever have in the history of their program, man. It's because of the SEC money and exposure. $1 million profit for Celebration Bowl, and unless you have ESPN Plus, you're not going to see round 1 JSU versus Weaver State, because it won't be in Jackson, Mississippi, unless they beat MSU and North Dakota State during the season. I mean, listen, I got you, but what happens, guys? How big would it be if Jackson State hosted a playoff game? People on and ESPN Plus is becoming a bigger thing, and I think a lot of people have it, and that's not going to discourage it. And a lot of the playoffs games aren't on ESPN Plus anymore. I believe most of the playoff games are on like ESPN U2 and News and all that. I listen. How big would a game be in the new Jackson State Stadium if they got into the playoffs and got to host a playoff game? Like, we're talking like big picture here, man. We can't just keep everyone just can't keep having this mindset of, man, I don't know about that, man. It'd be scary. Like, what if this happened? Just do it and for the betterment of the conference. And they won't move the Bayou Classic, but we will still send other teams. That's fine. Send the other teams. Let's see. I'd be there. I would. Me as well as that. I agree. The conference is strong enough to get 3 teams in. They're not strong enough. They'll probably get 1. One's better than none. I'll admit that. One's better than none. Thank you. Excuses. Prom is going to try to schedule a playoff Final Four team. Sonic, are you talking about like FBS Final Four, like Notre Dame, Alabama, Clemson, or are you talking about like playoff Final Four? By region, and these top FCS travel, North Carolina A&T travel to Jacksonville State. Gotcha. Brandon in the comments, what do you think about Dion walking off today? We'll end the stream with that. Agreed. I would love to see North Carolina A&T beat Duke this year. Listen, we had a whole episode on that too, where I think North Carolina A&T is going to give Duke a run for his money. Give a strong run for the money. Sonic Boom, Piss and Mississippi State, get players from just being in the Conference of Bama. Thank you, Sonic Boom. Talk it up. They don't understand that. They don't understand that. And like I keep getting told my SWAC hours low and I don't understand. But one thing I understand is football. And me covering all these levels of football gives me an understanding of how things would work if things were a little bit different. And I don't want to hear this whole thing about it's not good for the SWAC because it would be good for the SWAC. The schedule problem is based more on tradition. Thank you. Sometimes tradition has got to change. It's all about changing because how do you ever get better if you don't change and you don't grow and you don't do different things? If you just do the same thing you did for the last 80 years, you're going to get left in the dark. Nick Saban had a quote today at SEC Media Days that dinosaurs didn't adapt, so now they're extinct. Nick Saban's telling you got to evolve. You will see round one if JSU is in it. I agree, and especially if they're expected to win. Celebration Bowl gives $1 million to conferences, not the teams. Source Celebration Bowl website. Yikes. And that's crazy. And that's for the five and left. It's more money in the top conferences. I agree. There you go. Listen, if you schedule tough games during the season, it's going to prepare your team. The SWAC right now has seen an uptick in recruiting. That gap is getting smaller between the SWAC and the top teams in the FCS. I promise, guys, if the SWAC gets back into the playoffs, especially with this new surge of recruits coming in, they'll be just fine. I promise. They're going to be just fine, and everything's going to work out. And the SWAC, like this says, give it a year or two, the SWAC will adjust. So, guys, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. This was a blast to do a live stream for SWAC Media Days. I got one more topic, and it was the Dion Sanders walk-off from SWAC Media Days. And if you don't know the story, there was a tweet from the Clarion Ledger, I believe, where a reporter called Coach Prime Dion, and apparently he walked off the set or walked out of the media days or whatever it may be. Well, I came across a tweet right before we came on. Let me pull it if I can. I want to make sure I quote it just right here. I sent it to Brandon, and the tweet said, this was from Coach Prime. Never walked out of media day. I prolonged my time to answer another question, and the person thought it was cute to address me the way he did, so I dropped the call and went to the next media outlet. Please don't allow a fool to fool you because nobody would truly know who the fool is. So Dion Sanders is saying he did not walk out of SWAC Media Days because of the name. It was because of the impatience of the reporter, and I'm not going to speculate on whether that's true, whether that's false. And so he walks off Media Days. He says it's not true. And so the quote technically was that the reporter called him Dion, and that Dion told him, quote, "Don't call me Dion. You don't call Nick Saban Nick, so don't call me Dion." Well, speaking from someone who watches a lot of press conferences, that's not true. Nick Saban gets called Nick all the time. You can go to any Nick Saban press conference. Listen, YouTube, type in Nick Saban press conference, go to the spring game, the post-spring game press conference, 5 minutes. 5 minutes in, he gets called Nick. Now, here's also what I want to say. That K. Bryce, I was getting there. Hang on. I was getting there. So if Dion told him, because if it was just on the video on his Instagram, then maybe he didn't know. If Dion told him not to call him Dion once, and he ignored Dion to his face and called him Dion again, then whatever. I get it. But I don't know. It's a lot of he says, she said thing. But yes, I agree. If if Dion said he does not like being addressed as Dion and told you that to his face, the kid's all up in the wrong. It's way in the wrong, and I get it. The reporter has, I think he previously covered Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State, and I think one other program for the Clarion Ledger. And he always, like, there's like evidence that like he always calls coaches by their first name. So maybe he didn't know. But listen, if what K Bryce said is true, and he did, and he told this kid to his face not to call him Dion, and he did, and the kid's in the wrong. And you got to man up and apologize appropriately. You know, when I first heard the news, you know, there was a lot of, it was Southern Miss. Thank you, Crazy. And, you know, there was a lot of like misconceptions. It was just like he stormed off as he got called Dion, and he was comparing himself to Nick Saban. And, you know, I wasn't sure how to really take it because, man, like Nick Saban doesn't even care if you call him Saban. And like, I'm an Auburn fan. Gus was called Gus for 8 years at Auburn. So I was like, that's a little overreaction. But now with the reports coming out that he asked him to his face, that he told him what he wanted to be called, and like Dion's corroborated story, I don't know what to believe. So I'm not going to tear into Dion. It was just a big storyline I wanted to kind of address because I know Lawrence said he missed that. You can go check out my Twitter. I have it all on there. But, guys, that was the big storyline at the end. But, you know, listen, you can get a lot of Jackson State stuff all over YouTube, man. I'm trying to cover the full SWAC, man, full FCS. So appreciate y'all tuning in. I know it's getting late, especially for y'all East Coasters, man. It's like 10:30 over there. Hey, I agree. And listen, and, you know, at first my other thought was it could be a publicity stunt because, listen, Nick Saban spoke at SEC Media Days. No one's talking about it. All about prom, but man, everything's gonna be a news story, man. You know what it is, man. It's always gonna be a news story with prom. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. It's getting late out there for y'all. And play victim. See, I didn't even hear what the reporter had to say, so I can't really speak on that. But man, listen. We have a bunch of interviews out, man. I want to, you know, plug a little bit of our stuff for, you know, people who might be new here. We got an interview with Willie Eubanks III that dropped yesterday. A linebacker from the Citadel's SoCon Defensive Player of the Year, two-time All-American. We also have an interview with Spencer Wagey, North Dakota State, that came out 2 days ago. And we also got Jalen Swain, Isaiah Chambers, Chris Edmonds, Nicario Harper. All those guys are FCS All-Americans. And tomorrow, we have an interview with Sam Houston State safety Braden Clopton dropping, man. We talk about the run to the national championship, him being picked as an FCS All-American, and I'm very excited for that. And then, guys, Thursday, we have Demetrius Taylor, Appalachian State defensive end. And he, you know, I'm so excited to have him. He's one of our first FBS players that's just doing this for free, man. Demetrius Taylor, one of the Sun Belt All-American defensive end from Appalachian State. And then Friday, man, we got our biggest interview, man, for the FCS, I think. We got Eric Barrier Jr., Eastern Washington quarterback. He was picked as the FCS Player of the Year, and I think he finished second in like the FCS Player of the Year award, voted on by something. I think it was like 3 votes. So we got both. That's our lineup for the rest of the week, man. So I love it, man. Just absolute dogs, man. We only got the best of the best on here. Hey, appreciate your support, Criminal. Appreciate your support, man. Y'all been here since day one. Are you guys members of Any Given Saturday? I need to be supporting your channels. We're not members, but you know, drop some info on that, Sonic Boom. I haven't heard of Any Given Saturday, so reach out, man. You got us on Twitter. Let me know kind of what that's about, man. I'm actually not a member of it, so let me know what's up with that. Let's see. Dion's first press. He's not going to anybody. Coach Prom. Okay, fair enough. Cover some monsters in the FCS compared to the dogs of the SWAC. Shots fired, man. You crazy. EW quarterback compared Glass to him, man. Listen, they're both dogs, but Barrera is built different, bro. So why not change traditional things and push back around one of the playoffs so that all the best listen, whatever they have to do to get the SWAC in, I'm for, Emmanuel. So whatever that is. But guys, this Saturday we won't have a live stream. I'm going on our guy Couch Coach Live to do a Pac-12 preview with him. But the next Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time, man, we're doing another live stream. So tune in then, man. But check out all our FCS content, all our HBCU content. We got interviews with Mark Evans, interviews with Spencer Perry, Jonathan Timmons, Akil Glass. We got it all on this channel, man. Only channel on YouTube that covers the full landscape of college football. So I appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. Subscribe, get the word out, man. Give a big thumbs up to this video. I'll be back tomorrow. 2-minute drill. Our interview with Braden Clopton, Sam Houston State drops tomorrow as well. But guys, I will talk to y'all soon. But for your boys Zach and the Blue Bloods, I'm out.